So a report today going on the Jets side of things. Robbie Anderson arrested in Florida. Newsday's reporting this, Kim Martin, that the Jets put out a statement saying they're aware of the situation and they don't comment on the legal matter. But according to reports in Florida, he was charged with resisting arrest and violence and also obstruction of justice. It was an incident at a music festival in Miami. So
it's
another
a terrible look. Robbie Anderson.
Player.
That's where Rosenberg was at that festival down in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bad look.
Wow, it's a bad look.
It's one of those things where you just shake your head, right? Like,
I mean, they shipped Brandon Marshall out of – well, they didn't ship him out of town. They sent him to the team across town. But to create an opportunity for you in that role, and now you're doing this. This is how you step up. This is how you respond after they're giving you an opportunity.
Right. Now, what happens here? He's arrested.
Makes no sense.
I mean, is there what kind of supplemental punishment comes from this?
Well, I think the league is going to have to, and the club is going to let the law, the legal process run its course first before they're going to determine what they're going to do and any potential discipline down the road. Now, they don't have to wait, but I think it would be the smart thing for the Jets organization to wait and see how this whole thing plays out, get more details, more information about what actually took place. But it's just a bad optic, though, right? You're supposed to be this team that's going to shift in a different direction. You're not necessarily going to have a veteran-heavy roster. It's going to be a lot of young guys trying to establish a new environment, a new feel in that building. And Robbie Anderson figured to be a part of all of this, right? And they figured to give him an opportunity to play a prominent role in this offense with a young quarterback, right? And so to see him now do this publicly when he should be focused on football, by the way, because OTAs and workouts and all of that stuff is coming up. Why are you doing this? I get that it's your off season, it's your downtime, but to have this to put yourself in an environment, in a situation where this could take place, just doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you're a player in his position, right? Because this is that critical point in your career where you're trying to establish yourself and make your name. And, oh, by the way, the Jets organization is giving you that opportunity. So it's just a bad look. Don't put yourself in situations where this could happen.
Opportunities there for him. The Jets did draft 2 wide receivers, though.
And listen,
they were trying to get younger at wide receiver.
I get it. Exactly. And there's going to be competition at the position, and I understand all of those things. But when you're in that situation, you just can't let it get to that point, right? And I have to put the onus on the player without knowing all the details of what happened. When they start talking about obstruction of justice, when you're in that battle with law enforcement, you're not going to win in that moment. I mean, you have to cooperate with whatever they're trying to tell you to do. And let that be the end of it. And then on the back end, you can kind of dispute whatever took place if you don't like the way that things were handled. But you can't fight that battle in that situation. You just can't. You're not going to win.
Is it easy for us to say this about athletes, though? Oh, you're in that situation. I mean, he's probably there with friends. Something happens. He feels responsible for his friends, and you always want to take up for your friends. If he ducks and covers in a situation like that, it's a bad look for him among his friends.
No, it's not. It absolutely isn't. I'm not going to say that. You can't criticize him for being at the festival. I think if anything, you can criticize him for, doing what exactly Chris is talking about. Like you need to realize that. I mean,
be responsible. You're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a situation now where you have an opportunity to take the next step in your career. Like you've been given an opportunity now with Brandon Marshall being gone, with the kind of relationship you've shown. With Bryce Petty, I'm not sure what the relationship is with Christian Hackenberg, but, I mean, you're clearly in the plans for the New York Jets. Now, I don't know what happened. We only see the results, but you need to know, like, it is – and, Chris, you can probably speak to this, too. Like, if you always go to the Derby, right, Chris? Like, when you go down with buddies, like, yeah, I'm going to be the one probably footing the bill for this trip, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to drink, and we're going to party. But when push comes to shove and we get into a situation where it's you guys or me –
right.
You guys better realize that it's going to be you and it's not going to be me. Like, I'm not going to put myself in a situation where if this thing goes sideways, then I'm going to be up front and center pushing back with police officers.
So
like,
what you're saying is there was an element of truth to what Chris Carter was saying. Have a fall guy.
Have a fall guy?
Have a fall guy.
Or the
crew has got to understand somebody's got to take the charge, and it can't be me.
Everyone needs
because
their Pete.
I'm footing the bill.
I call my fall guy Pete.
Yeah.
Pete.
Well, but isn't that the situation too? You told this story about being in a bar and you were just an innocent bystander and someone just caught you laughing or whatever, and tried to start in with you, and was it Pete that stepped in?
Pete stepped right in, got a cigarette put on his neck, and then
got you out of there.
Ushered me out of there. Like, they know what it is. They know exactly what's going on. Like, we always just had that. I mean, that was a conversation we had before we even got off the plane. Was like, listen, this is what we're doing. No one act up. No fights. If something does go down, we're out of there. I mean, this is not a situation where we're going to act up. It's not going to happen because it's going to end bad for all of us. Because if it ends bad for me, these fun trips that we're taking, they're not going to happen.
Exactly.
They end too.